Simple question for Christina. How are the sturgeon in the Danube now?
We are trying to establish a joint monitoring program, as I mentioned, along the Danube River, because we do not know exactly the status. What was monitored in the last 10 years, thanks to our colleagues from the Danube Delta National Institute in Tulcea, was the offspring. So the natural reproduction, it's still taking place in the river, which is a very good signal, but we didn't have funding, as here in Ukraine, we didn't have funding and countries didn't cooperate to establish a transboundary monitoring along the whole Danube. What we know from the monitoring of the young of the year, the fish going out, the young babies going out in the Black Sea, is that, for instance, Acipenser guldenstedt, the Russian sturgeon, is in a very poor status. So definitely our efforts in the next 2-3 years will be to restock intensively with this species, otherwise we will lose it. So this is one of the reasons why we definitely need to work research together with policy, because we can raise the alarm signal that is a problem with that fish, and the policy level needs to provide funding so that we can work in this direction. Thank you for your question.
The first, my introduction. I am Sergei Stepanenko. I am rector of Odessa State Environmental University and president of Council of Rectors of Odessa universities. My question is, as you know, Ukraine is facing a serious problem of marine research organization after the annexion of Crimea. Now, Ukrainian scientists have initiated the establishment of National Center for Marine Research. My question, whether the European Commission has real opportunity, primary financial, help promote the project of this national center, and what the real mechanism we need to use to get this financial assistance. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So, as Commissioner Vella tell you this morning, we have a lot of different instruments, and we have to see which is the best instrument we can support your requests or your needs in terms of reinforcing the research infrastructure. In Horizon 2020, most of the budget is allocated to really do research and innovation at large scale, so it doesn't fit very well. Anyway, there are an area which is the infrastructure, a call where there is a possibility for updating. So this is the first option. Then you have really to look how the other fund could support you. I don't think I have a direct answer, but for sure, having a regional cooperation would certainly help to structure the research better. I don't know if somebody else wants to add something on that specific question.
So probably I may have an answer to this. I know I'm considered to be very optimistic in most of the times and most of the cases, but this may be also the answer to your question. And to briefly tell Vangelis, I didn't say that I believe that the Black Sea is a lagoon of the Mediterranean, but it looks like the biggest lagoon of the Mediterranean. Anyway, we need to be connected, and I think that what Vangelis presented, the BlueMed experience, is a great solution and source of inspiration for the Black Sea. I have a practical problem that you cannot call it blue-black, because it really sounds very bad. But the principles of the BlueMed applied also in the Black Sea region I think these are the key solution, because if they are driven by governance, driven by society, then driven by governments, will come an aggregated idea at the basin level, and this is very much important. If we have a strategy, then we start to implement it at the basin scale. This means that the funding agencies, not just research, but also regional development, also environmental agencies, also the others can come with their very little, €1 by €1, and in the end manage to come with a coherent solution. And we need to remind you that, I feel the need to remind you that we had not just the Seas Aranet. In FP7 there was also the Black Sea Aranet, which came with some, I think, very interesting conclusions and suggestions for the future. And we have lots of materials to build on. So it's a pity to waste what you already developed. And when we come with an aggregated policy, and we come and take money from various ministries towards the same purpose, I'm pretty confident that we'll manage to find not just the European Commission money, but there's also the World Bank, it's the United Nations programs like for Georgia and Ukraine, as it is now. So then, if we have a grand idea, very well detailed and justified, money will come. And again, as Christina said, when they were monitoring the sturgeons, each country in each own water, the results were not coherent and nobody believed in them. It's only when you have a source to sink or river mouths up to the river springs in the mountains policy, you can justify and be credible. And I think we can do it. I really think we can do it together. That's it.
Thank you very much for these nice messages. I think unfortunately, we have to close. Before we close, I would like to ask my panel if they have a small messages that they would like to deliver for the future. One of you?
I think that one of the ways to foster the cooperation in the Black Sea region is to establish, as I mentioned earlier, to establish a strategy for the Black Sea region, because this macro-regional strategy will bring the opportunity that each country brings its priorities on the table and then decide jointly around the Black Sea area. And then we will have projects focused in this direction in order to implement the vision. And the second is, in former times, the European Commission had a very good task force called DABLAS. It was Danube Black Sea Task Force. And we were hoping that maybe this can be reactivated and lead the process of a new strategy, as this may work. They are already experienced with the Danube and Black Sea problems. And definitely there is a need to work together between the Danube region and the Black Sea region. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
I just wanted to say that regarding the Blue Med initiative, we could accommodate countries that they want, provided that they have one voice. So Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, they could all come to be in the meetings of the Blue Med so that they get the idea, provided, as I said, that they will have one voice. Because every country has one voice. And I think this voice there is equal, and all of us try to see the big picture, not just out of our yard. So I think this is an important message that you can take home and address that to the Italians who are coordinating the issue, and I think it can be done easily.
Well, there is a time constraint, and I have to be very short, punctual. I think it's for the Black Sea economy, we also consider very much on the aquaculture, because our wild stock are finished. It's 60% of the catch is over in the Black Sea. It is the recent papers of the GFCM and FAO. So there is no fish. Even my friend said hamsi, anchovy, sprat, etc., and no fish in Turkey, no fish anywhere else in the Black Sea coast. So we need aquaculture. So we have to orient ourselves, our technology, or enterprises or investment and or staff to go more detail for the aquaculture in the Black Sea, and there are enough spaces. And we have to take also consider the marine spatial planning, also one of the issue. We have to consider all that issue, because next opportunities in the blue growth, two component is fisheries, aquaculture, and second growth is medical or biomimic, whatever you call it. Thank you very much, sir.
To speak one voice, just one announcement for you. We have just launched the consultation for the Horizon 2020 next strategic programming for the next 3 years on the portal for the Societal Challenge 2, which is a food and fishery. So my recommendation should be that as much as possible, the Black Sea people speak one voice and tell us what they consider the most challenging and priority area for research in the Black Sea that they would like us to cover during the last 3 years of the program. On that, I would like to close the session. With my colleague from DG Mare, we will continue to discuss to see how we could continue to support this big effort that we have already started, taking example of the Med, and I will hope that we could manage also with our colleague from the external service. On that, I would like to thank the panel. You have done a fantastic job. You speak a lot, of course, because you have a lot to say, but we respect the timing. So thanks again, and thanks for the audience. And